Hello, everyone. Thank you for watching this episode of Really Dicey. This is Manny.
This is RJ, and today we're doing a top 5 favorite things we love about RuneQuest weapons and equipment.
RuneQuest Weapons and Equipment is a sourcebook for the 4th edition RuneQuest role-playing game published by Chaosium. The book has about 128 pages and 12 chapters. The title does not at all give you the total scope of the book. This is not your typical fantasy RPG sourcebook that lists stats upon stats of weapons, armor, and magic items. Every item listed in this book is wrapped in the cultural context of RuneQuest's setting. Every page here reminds you that this isn't Faerun or Kryn or Greyhawk, but instead highlights more and more of what makes Glorantha special and unique. This book feels more closely to a history book you read in college than any equipment book I've ever read in role-playing games.
Yeah, RuneQuest does a lot to simulate life in the Bronze Age, and this book really gets into the details.
So today, RJ and I are going to share our top 5 favorite things we love about this book. I have rarely been impressed by currency systems in role-playing games, and most times I usually resort to one standard currency like gold pieces, just to save myself from headaches and odd currency exchanges. When it comes to the economic system in this book, though, there's nothing boring about it. I am very impressed at how well the market and bartering portions in this book are thought out, explained clearly, and reflects the setting of this world. It takes into account sizes of settlements, what items are rare and common, and how these labels are defined, and other things that may affect your barter rolls. I haven't seen too many games that take into account the types of metals your weapons, armors, and tools are made of. It really expands your thinking about the equipment you use for your characters. Sometimes finding a precious type of metal is a treasure in itself.
If historical economics is your thing, then the chapter on the market may give you the kind of content you're looking for, with a discussion of price fluctuations, the availability of credit, and how adventurers coming to a town to sell all their loot depresses a local market and causes problems for the community. But I agree with Manny about the metals. All useful metals are described, how they are worked, and what effects they have when used in various ways or when enchanted. This is a great way to customize your character's equipment.
Something I love a lot about this book that I think other game masters will be excited to know is the level of detail to common goods, such as clothing, jewelry, food and drink, even things like toys. Not something that I would give too much thought about in my games, but that shows the strength of this book, that every item makes you ponder more about the psychology, cultures, and technology of the communities that your characters live in. Those of you looking for weapon stats may not be too impressed with information like bees and honey production, but there is good information about herbs and the cost of items in your adventuring gear, like antidotes.
And this aspect of the book is like a hidden Bronze Age anthropology course, and it reflects the lengthy research that I assume went into writing this book. And there's a lot of detail, such as specifying a flounced skirt versus a work skirt, or the several types of tattoo pigments. Through these descriptions, you really get a sense of what life was like in that time, and it's helpful for portraying this world in a realistic and detailed way. However, there are some aspects of daily life that are so outside of our modern life experience that they may be difficult to understand without further explanation. In addition to the adventuring gear, I'd say the most useful section is probably the 25 herbs and plants in this book.
I was not expecting a beast section in this book, but I really enjoyed the details about animals used for food, for travel, and for war. But the one part of this section that really stood out to me was the section about awakened beasts. Awakened beasts are intelligent animals that become companions to adventurers and NPCs. And besides stats of the different awakened creatures, it gives you rules on how to make an animal into an awakened creature. I think that's fantastic. And besides that, I also enjoyed the options for different types of riding beasts and rules dealing with rare riding creatures.
Yeah, these lists include everything from catfish to mammoths. And of course, there's also a set of rules for training beasts as pets or as mounts or for other roles.
The Hirelings and Services section in RuneQuest, Weapons and Equipments, is interesting. If you've been playing role-playing games for a long time, then you're familiar with the concepts of hirelings and acquiring them in your campaigns. The sections detailing that in this book are expansive and includes topics that I don't see regularly, like magic services, dealing with scribes, what inns are like in a world where hospitality is the norm. I was surprised to see a detailed section about funeral rites, giving you a peek into how death is viewed in Glorantha.
Yeah, this section was also thick with anthropology and it gets quite detailed. For example, the different methods by which mercenaries get paid, or how much it costs to have an insulting poem written.
The weapon and armor sections in this book are amazing. Art in this book is superb, but what I like personally about this section is, again, like everything else in this book, is how expansive it is. Like different types of and looks of for bows and maces. But I really like the armor sections where they go over armor components, different styles of helmets and shields, what's like to wear, repair, and alter them. Now, I do want to let our viewers know that I haven't played enough of RuneQuest to know whether the stats for weapons and armor are balanced. We'll save that for a future video. But I can imagine you and experienced game masters looking at this and not being excited.
Yeah, like everything else in this book, the weapons are extremely detailed. There's even an entry for a rock. But there are also special rules for net fighting. But armor and shields are probably the best equipment section of this book. In addition to providing a lot of options for armor and shields, there are also rules for making, altering, and maintaining armor.
Before I get to share our conclusions, there are also some other great sections in this book about exotic items, sorcery training, and modifying your dwellings and fortifications. I am amazed how much information they put in this book without making it feel overwhelming.
Yeah, this book provides a lot of ways to bring the world of Glorantha to life by immersing the characters in the details of living in that world. There are systems, rule systems for owning and developing land and buildings, for practicing professions, for festivals, and for religious ceremonies. And while a lot of this gets close to being a Bronze Age simulator, it may be useful for game masters to pick and choose things that will enhance the game for their group. But be careful of getting bogged down in a life is hard simulation.
A lot of equipment source books that exist for different role-playing games are great to read, have fantastic art, and can be fine sources of inspiration, but are not essential to your playing or for your playing. In fact, I bet most game masters that are watching this video are more than capable of making their own homebrew magic weapons, armors, and other items. But I don't feel this way about RuneQuest's weapons and equipment. This book adds so much to setting up the game. It gives you a clearer picture to understanding the culture of Glorantha and how treasure is defined. This book is a must if you're looking to have your RuneQuest games break away from the tradition of generic fantasy settings that are out there. Thank you for checking out our review. Let us know in the comments below, what is the best things about RuneQuest that you like? Please share it with us, what we'd like to know. And yeah, again, thank you so much. Have a great day, everyone.